In the headlines, Department of State Services call for vigilance against planned attacks during Salah festivities. Bandits kill 3 farmers, abduct many in Kaduna State. President Tinubu says Nigeria is ready for business, meets with French President Emmanuel Macron. And on the foreign scene, 31 die in abandoned South African gold mine. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start here in Abuja as the Department of State Security Services has called for vigilance ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, saying that reports indicate that there are plans to attack worship and recreational centers before and during the festivities. This was contained in a statement by the spokesperson for the Secret Police, Peter Afunyaya, which was made available to newsmen on Thursday. The DSS also advises operators and patrons of public places, including markets and malls, to be watchful and report any suspicious movements and persons to relevant security agencies. The service says it will continue to partner with sister agencies for necessary proactive drills to frustrate criminals and their activities. The statement also discloses that a joint security team comprising the DSS, the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Police Force carried out operations in Nasarawa and Kogi states, neutralizing and apprehending some criminals. Still staying with security, 3 people have reportedly been killed and several others kidnapped by bandits who attacked Sabonlai community in the Birnungwari area of Kaduna State. The police and Birnungwari local government area authorities are yet to comment on the incident. A resident, Anas Musa, confirmed the attack on Friday. He says that the bandits stormed Sabonlai village at about 12 p.m. on Thursday and started shooting sporadically, killing 3 farmers in the process. Now, the immediate past Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, says the Boko Haram insurgency was at its peak when he assumed office in 2021, but leaving the army better equipped than he met it. Yahaya, who was appointed Army Chief by former President Muhammadu Buhari on May 27, 2021, after the tragic death of Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, who died in an air crash alongside 10 other officers and men of the Nigerian Army. Before he was appointed Army Chief, he was the theater commander of Operation Hadinkai, the counterinsurgency operation in the northeast. Speaking at the handover ceremony at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja on Friday, Yahaya, who led the Nigerian Army for 2 years, says he is leaving the military better than he met it. The new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Tawheed Abiodun Lagbaja, stated that the Army has witnessed an unprecedented prudent management of resources and procurement of military hardware under his predecessor. The Tinubu government is beginning to take shape with key appointments to man strategic positions, and the scramble for positions is also intensifying for over 2,000 positions as available appointments to governing boards of parastatals and government agencies. In this report, Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman takes a look at the possible direction of the administration, some earlier steps taken, and its apparent departure from the previous government's style of administration.
Top decision to end the controversial fuel subsidy regime. Soon as the anxiety generated by the inauguration of the 10th Assembly settles, President Tinubu begins house cleaning, firing and hiring those to drive his ambitious renewed hope agenda. Amongst top losers are the Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, EFCC boss Abdul Rashid Bawa, and lately the service chiefs, Inspector General of Police and Customs boss Hamid Ali.
I'm quite impressed with his takeoff. I'm quite impressed with his decisions. The decisions of deterrence and also decisiveness. It takes a leader that have the might and the will to take some of those tough decisions.
With the pronouncements so far and actions of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the response of Nigerians is that there are positive development.
Replacing the sacked top government appointees, President Tinubu is giving preference to those that worked with him in the past in trusted political associates. Opportunists are equally positioning themselves to get noticed with visibility in the media space as they scramble for engagement to fill available positions in the Tinubu administration.
With the positive development that Nigerians are looking at this administration, I will advise that the government should be cautious enough not to rush into just appointing people because there are vacancies.
Shop for the best Nigerians to help him drive the system. Otherwise, he will get stuck along the line. If he's going to base his appointment simply because this is my party man and he has no capacity to drive the place, there will be no much difference between him and President Muhammadu Buhari administration.
For the rest Nigerians, while the honeymoon and tremendous goodwill for the Tinubu government lasts, they are patiently waiting for a better deal as promised. Just as Nigerians grapple with the fallout of tough but necessary decisions taken by the Tinubu administration so far, economic indicators are also responding to the presidential decisions.
Some of the decisions are negative, but they are decisions that are right. For instance, the removal of the subsidy is the right decision, but it has negative implication. You can see in our streets the number of cars moving around today, and that will tell you that the economic activities will also be low.
Anything short of what he has done, it would have been extremely difficult for him to take off, because the level of lawlessness in the system, the lack of deterrence in the system, and the way and the manner people have looted the country, the cartel that was established to siphon our resources, people feel that nothing will happen.
Political observers say there is a radical departure from the governance style of former President Muhammadu Buhari in the areas of swift decisions, strategic engagements and policy directions. But how these attributes could be sustained will be answered in the coming months. Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
President Tinubu's visit to France for that summit, as he has met with President Emmanuel Macron of France, the First Lady, Lady Brigitte Macron, and other world dignitaries in Paris. Tinubu disclosed this through his official Twitter handle on Thursday. According to the president, Macron's family welcomed him warmly at a state banquet. Tinubu and his team are in France for the new Global France Pact Summit to woo foreign investors into Nigeria. The International Global Finance Pact Summit, with the theme Building a New Consensus for a More Inclusive International Financial System, commenced on Thursday and is expected to end today, Friday. The financial summit, which is hosted by France, seeks to establish a system that will be more responsive, just and inclusive. It also seeks to fight inequalities, finance the climate transition and biodiversity protection, and move closer to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Goals in the future. About 39 heads of state from around the world joined the summit. Also in attendance are several multilateral development banks, including the World Bank, the Africa Development Bank, the European Union, Africa Union, and the United Nations. A former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Mohammed Dauda, who was removed, has been reinstated by the Court of Appeal, Abuja, on Thursday. While delivering the judgment, Justice Peter Ige says the evidence leading to the dismissal of Dauda was frivolous and lacking in merit. The judge also resolved all the contentious issues around the NIA or against the NIA in favor of Dauda, who is a respondent in the suit. He then ordered that his salaries and entitlements since the day of the dismissal from office be paid. The appellate court also gave an order that the sum of 1 million naira be paid to Dauda. Representatives of some oil-producing communities in Delta State are asking the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to probe former Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa over alleged diversion of 1.07 trillion naira from the 13% old derivation fund. The communities consist of representatives of Ijo, Ishekiri, Orobo, Isoko and Ndokwa ethnic groups in the state. The group alleged that there was partial remittance of 50% of allocation to Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission during Okowa's administration from 2015 to 2023. However, the immediate past Commissioner for Information in Delta State, Charles Aniagu, the petitioners were sponsored by politicians who lost the last governorship election in Delta State.
Fatigable Commission to kindly reject any offer from the immediate past governor of Delta State, Senator Dr. Ato Ifeanyi Okowa, who has boasted to have made concrete arrangements with top officials of the EFCC for a plea bargain to the detriment of the oil and gas producing communities of the state. Sir, it is in view of the above, we are appealing to your good office for your prompt intervention to diligently probe and investigate the allocation and the deployment of our 13% oil derivation fund accrued and disbursed to the Delta State government from the Federation account from 2015 to 2023. With paid attention to the 50% of the 13% derivation fund prescribed by the DESOPADEC law. He has proven that instead of disbursing 50%, 30% that was specifically mentioned in the law, from the record that his agent gave of showing that only 8 billion is what he actually released to the DESOPADEC for the 8-year period, which is less than 20% of the 30% fund that actually came to Delta. So now that they have proven over time that they cannot be trusted, we also now wish to call on the Accountant General of the Federation and the Revenue Commission and the Presidency to withhold forthwith further disbursement of 30% to Delta State. Because whatever money that is there is money meant for the oil producing communities.
It's just a wise goose chase. Even the FCC will know that there is no, what's it called, 1.7 trillion. From where? All the money will go, all the money will go from FAC, including derivation, for the whole period we were in office, amounted to 2.1 trillion. So how can 1.7 be 13%? Their mission is just they are paying some of them. Let me tell you, those ones you are seeing there that call themselves, I don't know what they just mentioned. They are being sent by people who think that they are still paying by the fact that PDP won election in Delta. They should know that it was not only Okowa that voted for Sheri. 21 out of 25 local government areas endorsed him as their governor. So they should wait for 2027 if they have any better candidate.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you a story about a sickle cell survivor as she shares her story. More details coming up ahead.
That's great.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us on the news update. First, a recap of our top stories at this hour. Department of State Services calls for vigilance against planned attacks during the Salah festivities. And bandits kill 3, abduct many others in Kaduna. Retired police officers have appealed to the president to sign a bill that would exempt them from the contributory pension scheme. Speaking at a press conference and interfaith prayer session in Kaduna, they stated that the appeal is necessary to ensure that retired police officers receive their rightful benefits and also prevent them from any form of misappropriation of their retirement funds. The report.
They started with prayers, offering thanks to God for the passage of the bill for the establishment of a police pension board to exclude the Nigerian police force from the contributory pension scheme.
Let's thank God for the sponsors of our bill. Let's thank God for the police retirees.
Despite the passage of the bill by the National Assembly, the retirees are suspicious that elements may be working against the presidential assent to the bill.
Then surprisingly, the Senate for almost 3 to 4 years have been deliberating over this particular issue. Then on the 6th of this month, this year, they assented to this bill. Then somebody whom we don't know him as a advisor, we don't know him as anything to the government, will sit down behind the door and start advising that the president should not sign the bill into law.
They say their living conditions after retirement is pathetic, noting that any reduction in their entitlement may not augur well for them.
Police retirees are under terrible and disastrous condition that it's only the president and the Almighty Allah that can rescue us. Because when you look at somebody who contributed not up to 35 years, look, our contribution is not up to 35 years. That is the simple grammar I want to bring out. We do not contribute up to 35 years. Then we are exited. We are forced under this scheme. Then the little we contributed, we are giving only 25%. Then every day, prices of commodities is on the increase.
The retired police officers have been protesting since 2022, demanding their removal from PENCOM. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In other news, Nigeria has the highest rate of sickle cell disease across the globe, as thousands of sickle cell warriors face discrimination while seeking for jobs or engagement in a marital relationship. A sickle cell warrior, Aisha Adamu, shares her experience with our correspondent, Ibrahim Ismail.
According to World Health Organization (WHO), Nigeria lost 100,000 newborns to sickle cell disorder in 2014. Most of these deaths are caused by the lack of access to adequate health care. But Aisha Adamu is one of the few survivors of the sickle cell disease. She is a university graduate, but despite her status as a degree holder, she has suffered discrimination. She said she was once rejected by an employer because of her condition, despite being qualified for the job.
Normally when you apply for a job, maybe after an interview, there are some requirements, which among it is physical certificate of fitness. So after giving your certificate of fitness and they see that you're a sickle cell, they believe that you cannot do the job, you are not strong enough. You will be a liability for them instead of an asset. So this is one of our challenges, not just me alone, but for other sickle cell warriors.
On 2 different occasions, Aisha's marriage proposal was turned down by families of her suitors due to her health condition. Since then, life has become more complicated for her.
Most of the suitors, when they come, okay, when you say you're a sickle cell warrior, the first thing you start thinking, I'm carrying a liability. This one is going to be a liability to me. Day in, day out, we are going to be spending it in the hospital. Sometimes it's not from the suitor, but rather from their parents. they will reject you and say they don't want it when the person is comfortable but their parents are not. So this is one of the biggest challenges, not just for me but for other ones. I have encountered stigmatization, I think 1 or twice from suitors. The first one, it was even at the brink of getting engaged, then his family rejected it. It wasn't him but rather his family.
To reduce the burden of sickle cell disease, health experts and survivors urge intending couples to marry partners with compatible genotype.
Most important preventive measure is to have premarital screening so that we know our genotype before going ahead and marry. And if there is possibility that we may have a child with sickle cell disease, then we can be properly counseled about the likely consequences of having a child with sickle cell disease, and we take an informed decision.
All the time of that pediatric children, they are not getting the drugs. If you go to clinic, you will say no drugs. But some of our children, they are from poor family.
Sickle cell survivors, mostly from poor families, have died due to lack of access to proper health care. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, the Nigeria Meteorological Agency has predicted cloudy weather and thunderstorms between Friday and Sunday across the country. This is according to NIMET's weather outlook, released on Thursday in Abuja, predicting a cloudy atmosphere in the northern region with prospects of thunderstorms. NIMET noted that the prospects of thunderstorms are expected over parts of Borno, Adamawa, Kano, Bauchi, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, Gombe, Jigawa, and Taraba states. The agency has envisaged thunderstorms over the entire region in the afternoon and evenings. NIMET predicted sunny skies on Sunday with few patches of clouds over the northern region, with chances of a few thunderstorms over parts of Bauchi, Adamawa, Taraba, Jigawa, Borno, and Gombe states in the early morning. Now, according to it, the thunderstorms are envisaged over the entire region in the afternoon and the evening hours. According to the agency, the public is advised to be cautious, especially for areas where thunderstorms are expected. Strong winds are likely to precede the rains, and as such, trees, electric poles, unsecured objects, and weak buildings may be felled. In business, the Nigeria Communications Commission, NCCA, says Nigerian people lost about 12.5 billion naira to financial crimes connected to the telecoms industry in the past 4 years. NCC Director of Consumer Affairs, Dr. Al-Qasim Umar, made this known at the second quarter of the 2023 Open Forum of the Industry Consumer Advisory Forum organized by the Commission in Lagos on Thursday. The NCC Consumer Affairs boss said e-fraud poses a significant threat to Nigeria as it subverts the trust and confidence in the country's digital platforms, hindering economic growth and adversely impacting the lives of its citizens. He says, as the regulatory authority is responsible for overseeing the telecommunications industry, the NCC recognizes its duty to safeguard the interests of consumers and protect the digital economy ecosystem. Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, Professor Umar Garba Ambata, says e-fraud encompasses a wide range of malicious activities carried out via electronic means, including identity theft, phishing, hacking, and unauthorized access to personal and financial information with the intention to defraud or take advantage of victims. Now, away from Nigeria, at least 31 illegal miners are believed to have died last month in an abandoned South African gold mine, the government said on Friday. The deaths occurred in the ventilation shaft at an abandoned site in the gold mining town of Welcome, 260 kilometers from Johannesburg, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy said in a statement. The fatalities are believed to be illegal miners who had come from neighboring Lesotho, a tiny kingdom surrounded by South Africa. The deaths possibly happened on May 18th, although the cause remains unknown. A search team has not been dispatched to the shaft for safety reasons. Lesotho's foreign ministry alerted South Africa's High Commission in Maseru on June 10th, but the incident was only announced by Pretoria in an overnight statement on Thursday. The reason for the delay is yet to be known. And in sports, President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, says the Football House will seek the opinion of soccer-loving Nigerians or football-loving Nigerians before deciding the fate of Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro. Peseiro's contract will expire at the end of the month. There are reports that the NFF will request Peseiro to take a pay cut to remain in charge of the Super Eagles. Former Super Eagles star Finidi George and Emmanuel Amunike have also reportedly been lined up as possible replacement in case the NFF fails to reach an agreement with the Portuguese head coach. Gusau hinted that the NFF has not made any decision on Peseiro's future and will be seeking public opinion to take the next steps. And that's our offering on the news update at this hour. Many thanks for watching. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms and do enjoy our YouTube live stream. My name is Abdullah Ahmed. Thank you for your time.